Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Yin Yoga. This is a 30-minute sequence, and today we're going to be focusing on the third eye chakra. So we have addressed all of the other chakras in the last couple weeks. And so for this practice, it's really about trying to find that meditative state. So that's the way that we balance and open the third eye chakra. With each of the chakras as well, I've put up a post on my Instagram page if you'd like to read more about them, and to incorporate that into your practice when you do yoga or meditation. So for today, placing the two pillows on top of one another, we are going to place the soles of the feet together with knees bent, and we're going to lay back onto the pillows. So you've got two options here. One is to place them underneath the upper back to allow the head to rest back onto the ground or onto the mat. The second option is to place them up a little bit higher so that the head also rests on the pillows. So we're going to take the hands out to the left and right side, palms facing the ceiling. You can gently move the knees up and down a couple of times if you've got tight hips, making sure to tuck the pelvis, pressing the lower back onto the mat. Just taking in a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel the body as it begins to settle. Allowing the body to sink over the pillows towards the earth. So with mindfulness and meditation, it's all about bringing the mind back from thought into the present moment. So just taking a second here to acknowledge any thoughts that you've come to today's practice with. Noticing what's on your mind. On the next few out breaths, visualize the thoughts floating off on the out breath. You can also visualize blowing up a balloon, filling the balloon with your thoughts and then letting it go, allowing it to float off into the sky. With each in-breath, allowing the collarbones to broaden, observing the chest as it rises and falls. Noticing the rhythm of the breath. If you struggle with letting go of your thoughts, you can count the breath. Breathing in for a count of 3, breathing out for a count of 6. Pausing for a moment after the inhale. And at the end of the exhale. By extending the out breath, we can tell the body that it's time to relax, that it's safe, taking away that fight or flight response. Two more breaths here. Slowly drawing the knees back together, separating the feet hip width apart. Gently moving the knees from left to right, releasing any tension in the lower back through the spine, through the hips. And then bringing them back up to center, straightening through both legs, using your hands to help you come up to a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, rolling the shoulders up to the ears and down the back. Once more. We're now going to separate the legs, taking them out nice and wide, allowing the feet to soften. You can gently move the knees up and down to release any tension in the legs, in the hips. Taking a breath in, and as you exhale, we're going to walk the hands out in front, dropping the chin to the chest and allowing the elbows to fall down towards the mat or towards the floor. If your hips are really tight, you can sit on the cushions or you can put your back against the wall. Taking in a few deep breaths here. Within yoga, we use poses, gravity to help stretch our connective tissues. We want to release all the tension that's being held in the muscles to allow space for the connective tissues to then stretch. The ligaments and tendons, the fascia surrounding the muscles. And the longer that we hold the pose, the further they creep, the further they stretch. You can scan your awareness from the crown of the head all the way down to the toes, scanning each muscle, connecting with it, noticing if it's holding tension, softening the forehead and the jaw, relaxing the neck, allowing the arms to hang forward from the shoulders. Observing the pull of gravity. Relaxing the thighs, the hamstrings. Keeping your mind focused on your breath or focused on scanning the body. If you find a thought pops into your mind, you can visualize the balloon or it leaving on the out breath. Two more breaths here. And then slowly walking the hands back towards you, lifting up through the chest. You can roll the shoulders nice and big to release any tension through the upper back. We are then going to fold the left knee, drawing the foot to the base of the spine. And then you can either cross the right leg in front or you can place the right foot on top of the left leg. If you find that the right knee is raised, you can use one of your pillows to place underneath the knee just to support it until the connective tissues creep and stretch forward. So lifting up through the chest, you can place the hands on the knees, pressing the chest forward, pulling the belly button forward. Deep breath in. And exhale, walking the hands out in front. So if the hips are really tight, once again, you can sit against the wall or you can sit on top of the pillows. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. Feeling the body as it settles. This time feeling the stretch through the right hip. Observing what you can feel. And then scanning the body for any tension. Tension being held in the muscles. When our body goes into fight or flight response, our hip flexors tense to draw our knees to our chest, to rest in child pose, to protect ourselves. Through yin yoga, we can stretch these connective tissues back out, but at the same time, it might release emotion that was felt during that fight or flight response, whether that be fear or worry, anger or frustration. Just becoming aware of that as you drop a little deeper. As the hip stretches a little bit further. As the body surrenders to gravity. Noticing any discomfort and using the breath to work through it. You can come back into breathing in for 3 and out for 6. One more breath. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the legs, lifting up through the chest. Big shoulder roll. And then slowly straightening through the right leg, followed by the left. You can bend and straighten the knees and the ankles, moving the knees from side to side. You can gently massage if you're noticing any tension or any discomfort. And then we're going to switch sides, drawing the right foot to the base of the spine, bending through the right knee, and then folding the left either in front or on top of the right leg. So once again, you can place a pillow underneath the knee if you need to. Lifting up nice and tall, belly button forward, chest broadening and opening, hands on the knees. And as we exhale, walking the hands out in front, dropping the upper body over the hips. You can gently sway it from side to side, dropping the elbows towards the mat. And if you're finding your hips are tight, staying against the wall. Taking in a few breaths as the body settles. Checking in again with our thoughts. observing where our mind's present, observing the stretch this time through the left hip. Once you feel the body starting to settle, scanning your awareness throughout the body to find tension being stored in the muscles, in the upper back, allowing the arms to hang forward, feeling the shoulder blades as they separate with each in-breath. Feeling the expansion and contraction of the chest, breathing into the belly. Tapping into the feelings, noticing the connective tissues as they stretch, and the body as it creeps further forward. Relaxing the thighs, the hamstrings, the hips. Allowing the body to surrender to gravity. Another 2 breaths here. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the legs, lifting up through the chest. Big shoulder roll. And then straightening through the left leg, straightening through the right, bending through the knees, through the ankles. And this time we're going to tuck the feet to one side, come over onto our hands and knees into tabletop. Checking that the shoulders are above the wrists and that the hips are above the knees. We're going to take the big toes together, separating the knees a little bit further, and sit back onto the heels into child's pose. 2 options here. The first is just to drop the forehead down to the mat. The second is to keep the left hand on the mat, sliding the right hand underneath the left, dropping down onto that right shoulder, placing the head on the mat. If you're finding your shoulders are tight or your hips are tight, you can place a pillow underneath the shoulder and head as well, just to elevate it a little bit further. Taking in a couple of deep breaths here. Allowing the body to drop, stretching through the hips, through the shoulder. If you'd like to deepen the stretch through the hips, you can separate the knees a little bit further. And then scanning the body, scanning the muscles, noticing any tension being held. Allowing the left shoulder to drop forward towards the mat. Noticing where the mind is, drawing it back to the body, back to the breath. One more breath here. Pressing into the left palm, extending the right arm out in front, and then sliding the left hand underneath the right, dropping the left shoulder and head down to the mat. Taking a couple of breaths as the body settles. You might find the hips starting to stretch a little bit further. You might be able to take your knees out a little bit wider. Allowing the body to drop. Noticing a stillness. With each breath, feeling a wave of calmness wash over the body. One more breath here. And then pressing into the right palm, extending the left arm out in front, lifting up off the heels, bringing the knees back in hip width apart. For the next pose, you'll need to go to the wall or to the lounge. So we're going to place our hands on the wall at shoulder height, and we're going to drop the head down between the hands. So extend the knees out as far as you like, depending on how far you can stretch down towards the mat. So just a deep shoulder stretch here. You can either sit back on the heels or you can stay up on the knees, straightening through both arms. Taking a few deep breaths, releasing any tension in the shoulders, allowing them to stretch a little bit further. Three more breaths here. Slowly lifting back up. You can sit back onto the heels as you roll the shoulders, gently moving them forward and back. You can shrug them up to the shoulders and allow them to drop. Just releasing any tension through the neck. We're then going to slide over onto our sit bones, keeping the pillows within arm's reach. We're going to take the hands out in front, slowly curling the spine down onto the mat. Tucking the shoulder blades down the back, walking the feet in nice and close to the sit bones. Stepping into the heels, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, placing the pillows underneath the sit bones, then gently resting them on the pillows. If the lower back is tight, you can take the feet out to the left and right edge of the mat and allow the knees to roll in. Otherwise, you can walk the legs out straight. You can choose to keep your arms down by your sides, palms up or palms down, or you can inhale the arms up and over your head. Just taking a few breaths here as the body settles. As the hips soften. Feel the body as it settles and starts to relax, melting over the pillows towards the mat. Softening the shoulders, softening the legs, all the way down to the feet. Taking a few deep breaths in, breathing into the belly. Taking in 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Bending through the knees, walking the feet back onto the mat. Slowly lowering your arms back down by your sides. Stepping into the heels, lift the hips up to the ceiling, removing the pillows, placing the lower back onto the mat. As we did at the beginning, we're going to gently move the knees from left to right. And then dropping them to the left, we're going to roll onto our left side. Taking a moment here for the head and the heart to settle. And then when you're ready, slowly coming back up to a seated position. Folding the legs in front, nice and tall through the spine, placing the hands on the knees. Rolling the shoulders up to the ears and down the back. And then placing the hands together over the heart center. You can leave the hands resting together, or you can place them over the heart space. Just bringing to mind 3 things that you're grateful for this morning. Noticing the feeling of gratitude and allow it to spread throughout the body. Listing those three things again to yourself. And thank you for joining me on the mat this morning. Namaste.